everyone, it's Holly Marie King, and we are here with the final chapter of the Confusing Kidnap. I thought this day was never going to come. With moving and a new job, I thought it was going to take forever to get this done. So I'm excited that we're at the end. I'm excited to start my new book, which is Emblem Knights. I'll do an introductory video for that before we actually read it. I know originally I said I was going to do a children's book, but then I looked further into it. Lots of copyright issues. So I'm just going to jump back into the next rough draft because I have like a zillion rough drafts and not very many final drafts. So if I'm reading the rough drafts, getting them out of the way, I know it's not side by side, but you know, if you want to wait to watch the video for when the final drafts come in, at least you know there's options. But anyway, why don't we finish the Confusing Kidnap before we get into, you know, other stuff. Alright, so anyway, Chapter 13, the end of the prophecy. Helen, many of her friends were shouting her name, but Helen blocked it out. She only concentrated on the dark water she laid in. It is time for your decision. A voice said in the distance. Yes, I am ready to finish this prophecy, Helen said. What is your decision? The voice asked. I choose to save the cursed. I choose to give my life to them. Are you sure? Helen paused. It wasn't too late to back out now, but she thought of all her friends she had met in this world. Sure, she probably would have decided against it when she first came here, but now she could not just let them go. Yes, I am sure. Outside the portal, it exploded. The sparkles from the portal surrounded everyone. The fading demons turned solid. The ones who were cursed creatures turned human. The chosen one has decided, said a voice, and as soon as everyone had celebrated, they stopped. Helen was nowhere to be seen. Helen? Allison asked, looking around. She did not answer. No, she whispered, shaking her head. She did as she said she would do, Brandon said. What did she do? Reggie asked, still hugging his wife. Allison had tears of fury in her eyes. In order for all of us cursed people to live, she gave up her life, she whispered. No, Natalie whispered. Maria and Ellen came forward to the front of the group. Foolish girl, Maria snapped. She gave her life for you, Allison snapped. This time, Maria hadn't snapped from resentment with Helen, but from sorrow. Stupid girl, she hit the wall where the portal had been. I deserve to die, she screamed. Tears were streaming down Ellen's face. She gently put her hand on the stone, a smile on her face. Always stealing the spotlight. I did as you asked, though. I hope it worked, huh? Everyone turned to Ellen and Maria. She asked the two of us to keep an eye on Troy. Plus, she wanted us to immobilize everyone. She knew that Andrew was beginning to like her, and she knew that Maria was good at making people stay put. So she figured it would be easy to make it look like Maria would betray you. Ellen looked around the room. So now she needed someone who had a demon in them to look like they betrayed the team. I wouldn't ask questions. She figured since I was able to separate from Rosie completely, she hoped I would do it. In fact, she told me that everyone's lives depended on me and Maria finishing our tasks. She looked at the wall. Now we know why, Maria said. She pounded her fist on the wall again. Stupid girl, she screamed. She began to punch and kick the wall until Andrew hugged her close. She still had a hand on the wall as she cried. 3 years later, John hammered on a sword, wiping the sweat out of his eyes. Need a towel? Burke asked, handing his brother, a white cloth towel. John smiled. Thank you, John said, taking the towel and wiping the sweat off of his face with it. Someone walked into the smithy and stopped at John's table. Both men were looking down at the sword John was still fixing. How may I help you? He asked, looking at the sword, picking it up. The blade blocked out the person's face. It's time to go see Reggie, John, Ellen said, patting her round belly. She had married Ron almost exactly after Helen had died. She led the way to something that had been so big. I'm sorry. I'll go back. Whoops. Okay. Their group had been so big that they all had their own town. Helen was the first to be buried. Now their dear friend Reggie was the second. This is the anniversary of Helen's death, Allison whispered. A girl was clutching her hand. Allison and Troy's 2-year-old daughter. What? Allison married Troy? No. Allison doesn't marry Troy. Who was named Helen. But I didn't die, Mommy, little Helen said. Allison picked the little girl up into her arms. I like the ending of the other book better. I know that, dear. I didn't mean you, little Helen, she said with a smile. Maria and Andrew had 2 rowdy twin boys who were almost 3. They'd turned that age in 3 months. First, Helen, and now my father. That doesn't make sense if it's only been a year, Andrew said, shaking his head. But Helen would be happy for us, Maria said. John had to scowl. She was just glad that Helen wasn't alive to steal him away. The group of people slowly dispersed from the grave. When Maria looked back, she saw a person come out of nowhere, standing by the grave. Hey, who's that? Helen walked around and put her hand on the grave. Dear Reggie, I'm sorry I couldn't be here for the last few years of your life. It is okay, but I had a promise to keep. Here I am to take you home, though. Home to a better place, where you feel no more pain. She put a red flower on his gravestone, which changed the stone to a blood red. A spirit came from the stone, standing before the girl. Hello. Hey! Maria was screaming as she ran back to the grave. Get away from him! She stopped instantly when she recognized Helen. Are you ready to leave? Helen asked. Helen, I thought you were... Maria said as she was close enough now to touch the girl. Her fingers went straight through Helen. I don't understand. Till we meet again, Helen said with a bow. Look for us. We'll be here until the day there are no more of us left. Take good care of my family, the old man said. The 2 of them disappeared. The end. The ending is so much better in the final draft. Oh my god. I forgot. So there are 2 more books of this series. So clearly this is not how it actually ended, because Helen is in all 3 of them. Just to ruin it for you. But yeah, so we have finally finished The Confusing Kidnap. Next week we have an introduction to the next book in the series. The next book that I'm going to be reading the rough draft of. The next book in the series will be after that one. So look forward to Emblem Nights, and after Emblem Nights we'll probably be doing Trouncing the Unknown, which is the 2nd book to this series. Yeah. Good thing we'll be done with the final draft by then, because that would have been really confusing had I been doing that one next. But yeah, so anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. I always like to think ahead, but I will leave in this final episode of this, in the description below, the place where you can buy the book if you are interested in buying it. Like I said, we'll finish off the final draft while reading the rough draft of Emblem Nights. Unfortunately, this one was a lot shorter than the final draft, and I can't read children's books like I wanted to because copyright issues. So yeah, but I will definitely be continuing on with my rough drafts if anyone's interested. If not, I'm doing it anyway because, you know, I love sharing my books on here and not in person because that's awkward. But yeah, anyway, hopefully I will see you guys next time. Bye!